So here's the thing, climbing Mount Everest usually takes about 2 months, right? But today, we're going to do the entire thing in just a few minutes. Base camp all the way to the summit and back down again. Now you might be thinking, that sounds pretty cool, and it is, but here's what makes this different. Every single section we're about to fly over has taken lives. Real people, real stories, so let's go. What you're about to see is the full route up Everest, shown using real satellite renders from Google Earth Studio and actual photographs taken on the mountain. I put a lot of work into this, so I really hope you guys appreciate it and also like the video. We're going to move fast, but we're going to stop at each camp along the way, and at every stop I'm going to show you what it actually looks like and what's happened there. Because the thing is, Everest looks peaceful from up here. It looks quiet, you know, but it's not. It's one of the deadliest places on Earth, and by the end of this video, you'll understand why. Alright, so this is where it all starts. Everest Base Camp. You're at about 17,600 feet here. For context, that's already higher than most mountains in North America, and this is just the beginning. Base camp is like a temporary city, honestly. Hundreds of tents, climbers from all over the world, gear everywhere, it's loud, it's crowded, it's full of energy. But it sits on a glacier, a moving glacier, so the ground under your feet is constantly shifting, cracking, groaning. Now, most people think base camp is safe. And compared to what's above, yeah, it kind of is, but it's not free of risk. In 2015, a massive earthquake triggered an avalanche that swept through base camp. 19 people died that day, just like that. One of them was Dr. Marisa Eve Jirawong, a doctor from New Jersey. She was there to help climbers, and she didn't make it out. So even here, at the very start, you're reminded, this mountain doesn't care who you are. Beyond base camp lies the first real test, the Khumbu Icefall. Okay, so if there's one section that terrifies climbers more than any other, it's this one, the Khumbu Icefall. What you're looking at is a massive, slow-motion river of ice. Except it's not smooth, it's jagged, unstable, and full of crevasses, some of them hundreds of feet deep. And the only way through this is by walking across aluminum ladders that are literally tied together and stretched over these gaps. Now imagine doing that in the dark, because most climbers cross the icefall before sunrise when the ice is more stable. You're clipped into a rope, your crampons are barely gripping, and you can hear the ice groaning all around you. It's bad, like really bad. And the worst part, the ice doesn't care how experienced you are. In 2014, a massive block of ice called a serac collapsed without warning. 16 Sherpas were killed in seconds. These were some of the best climbers in the world, and there was nothing they could do. Every year, a team called the Icefall Doctors sets up the ladders and ropes through here, but even they can't predict when the ice will move. So if you make it through the icefall, you've survived the first real test, and now you reach Camp 1. Camp 1 sits at about 20,000 feet, right on the glacier. It's flat here, relatively speaking. You can actually lie down without feeling like you're about to slide off a cliff. But you're still on moving ice, hidden crevasses everywhere, and this is where altitude sickness really starts to hit people. Some climbers get here and realize they can't go any further. Their bodies just won't adjust. Others push through even when they shouldn't. There have been cases of people collapsing here from exhaustion or falling into crevasses they didn't see coming. It's not as dramatic as the icefall, but it's still dangerous, you know, quietly dangerous. From here, you enter the Western Khumbu, and if you think of it, it's basically a giant bowl surrounded by walls of ice and rock. This is Camp 2, also called Advanced Base Camp. You're at about 21,000 feet now, the air is thinner, everything takes longer, your body is working overtime just to keep you alive. Camp 2 sits right under the Lhotse Face, which is this massive wall of ice you can see in the background. It's intimidating, even from here. Now, most deaths on Camp 2 aren't from falls or avalanches, they're from things you cannot see. Altitude sickness, heart attacks, exhaustion. There have been experienced climbers who made it this far, turned around because something felt off, and didn't survive the descent. One guy, a really skilled mountaineer, made it to Camp 2, felt chest pain, and decided to head back down. He collapsed on the way and never made it. That's the thing about Everest. Sometimes your body just says no, and there's nothing you can do about it. Beyond Camp 2, everything changes. The terrain gets steeper, way steeper. You're about to climb the Lhotse Face now. So this is Camp 3, clinging to the side of the Lhotse Face at about 24,000 feet. And when I say clinging, I mean it. The tents here are literally carved into the ice. You sleep strapped in because if you roll over too much, you could slide right off. The climb up to Camp 3 is almost vertical in some sections. You're on fixed ropes the entire way, pulling yourself up with every step. And if your crampon slips or the ice gives way, you fall. Simple as that. There have been climbers who have lost their footing here and tumbled hundreds of feet down the face. Some survived, most didn't. Ice avalanches are another risk. They happen without warning, and if you're in the wrong place at the wrong time, that's it. Camp 3 is where a lot of people realize they're entering a different world. Above Camp 3, you enter the death zone. Anything above 26,000 feet. Your body is dying up here, slowly but surely, and the next stop is Camp 4 on the South Col. This is the South Col, Camp 4, about 26,000 feet. It's a flat, wind-swept saddle between Everest and Lhotse. There's no snow here, just rocks and ice and torn-up tents from previous seasons. The wind is insane, like you can barely stand in it sometimes, and the temperature can drop to -40 or colder. This is the last camp before the summit push. Most climbers rest here for a few hours, check their oxygen, and wait for their window. But a lot of people don't make it past this point. Oxygen systems fail, storms roll in out of nowhere, people get too exhausted to continue. David Sharp, a British climber, tried to summit without supplemental oxygen and collapsed near here on his way down. Other climbers passed him, thinking he was already dead. He wasn't, but by the time anyone realized, it was too late. Francis Arsentiev, an American climber, made it to the summit but ran out of oxygen on the descent. She spent the night in the death zone and didn't survive. Camp 4 is where the reality sets in. If something goes wrong from here on, rescue is almost impossible. From the South Col, climbers push for the summit. This is the final stretch, and it's where most people die. Alright, real quick, if you're finding this interesting, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. We've got more videos like this coming, and you don't want to miss them. Okay, let's keep going. Alright, so this is it, the summit push. You leave Camp 4 in the middle of the night, usually around midnight. You're climbing by headlamp, one step at a time. You pass the balcony, then the south summit, then the Hillary Step, or what's left of it after the 2015 earthquake, and then, eventually, you reach the top, 29,032 feet, the highest point on Earth. It's incredible, right? You made it. But here's the problem. You're only halfway done. The summit is crowded now. On busy days, there can be traffic jams near the top. Climbers waiting in line, burning through their oxygen, getting colder and more exhausted by the minute. Some people collapse on the way up. Others make it to the summit and realize they don't have enough oxygen to get back down. Falls are common here too. The ridge is narrow, the drop on either side is thousands of feet, and one wrong step is all it takes. There have been climbers who summited, took a photo, and never made it home. So the real question is, can you make it back down alive? This is where most people die, on the way down. You're exhausted, your oxygen is running low, your brain isn't working right, and every step feels harder than the last. Rob Hall, one of the most experienced Everest guides ever, got stuck near the south summit during a storm in 1996. He couldn't make it down. He called his wife on a satellite phone and said goodbye. He didn't survive the night. That's the thing about Everest. The mountain doesn't get easier on the way down. If anything, it gets harder. Your body is shutting down, your coordination is shot, and if a storm rolls in or your oxygen runs out, there's no one coming to save you. Body recovery at this altitude is nearly impossible. So if you fall or collapse, you stay there forever. So there you have it, base camp to the summit and back down, all in just a few minutes. From up here, Everest looks peaceful, doesn't it? Quiet, beautiful even. But every section we just flew over has taken lives. Experienced climbers, Sherpas, doctors, guides, people who trained for years and still didn't make it home. That's the reality of Everest. If you made it this far, thanks for watching. Hit subscribe if you want more stuff like this. And let me know in the comments, which part of the climb shocked you the most. See you in the next one.